Afghanistan is rapidly constructing a giant canal to help irrigate more than 500,000 hectares of its arid northern region.
It began with machines cutting through desert silence, not for war, but for water.
The massive canal is the Taliban-led government's first major infrastructure project.
In a land long defined by conflict, the new story is about construction, canals, and corridors that stretch beyond borders. What's emerging isn't just surprising, it's strategic. And at its core lies a gamble that could remake a region or unravel one. The unexpected blueprint. Afghanistan wasn't supposed to look like this, not in the aftermath of 2 decades of war, sanctions, and economic collapse. Yet, less than 3 years after the Taliban's return to power in 2021, something unexpected began to unfold. Bulldozers, not battle trucks, started carving through scorched terrain. Cranes replaced checkpoints. And in place of the usual headlines of conflict, came reports of construction. Not just any construction, nation-shaping infrastructure with regional consequences. At the heart of this shift lies a strategy few anticipated. Rather than relying solely on ideological control or military strength, the Taliban leadership has pursued something far more enduring: control over the physical systems that sustain life: water, power, agriculture, and trade. They're not just building for internal needs, they're positioning Afghanistan as a gatekeeper in Central Asia's economic web. Observers were skeptical at first. Infrastructure promises had come and gone before, under past regimes. But this time, roads were paved, projects restarted. Construction didn't stall, it accelerated. In the vacuum left by retreating foreign powers, a new blueprint emerged, one designed to make Afghanistan indispensable not through force, but through leverage. That blueprint's most audacious move starts with a river that doesn't respect borders, and a canal that could change everything downstream. Water as leverage. The Amu Darya is one of Central Asia's lifelines, an ancient river that flows from the Pamir Mountains through Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan. For decades, it served as a shared resource, vital to agriculture in all 3 nations. But now, Afghanistan is redrawing that balance with the Qosh Tepa Canal, a colossal man-made waterway cutting through 115 kilometers of desert, designed to reroute up to 20% of the river's flow. This is more than engineering, it's geopolitics in motion. Once complete, the canal will irrigate 550,000 hectares of farmland, effectively expanding Afghanistan's arable land by 1/3. In theory, this could make the country self-sufficient in food production by 2026 or 2028. For a nation that has long depended on foreign aid and grain imports, that shift alone is transformational. But for neighbors downstream, it's cause for concern. Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan rely heavily on the Amu Darya for their own agriculture, particularly Uzbekistan's cotton industry. Yet, there is no binding treaty that limits how much water Afghanistan can divert. The Taliban has simply begun building, with no formal negotiations, no multilateral agreements, and no signs of stopping. By October 2024, the second phase of construction was already 80% complete and ahead of schedule. The canal is just the start. Across the country, dam construction is accelerating, including the long-stalled Bakhshabad Dam. These projects promise irrigation, hydroelectricity, and, most importantly, leverage. For nations like Iran, which depend on cross-border rivers, the message is clear: Afghanistan now controls the tap. This is water as strategy, not just survival. And it's redefining how power flows, literally, across borders that no longer dictate who holds influence. Ambition in concrete. In the dust-shadowed outskirts of Kabul, a city is rising that doesn't yet exist on most maps. It's not a renovation or expansion, but a full-scale reset. Kabul New City is one of the most ambitious urban planning projects in South Asia, covering 722 square kilometers, nearly twice the footprint of the current capital. Designed to house up to 3 million people, the plan envisions 250,000 residential units, spread across commercial, educational, and green zones. For a capital choked by overpopulation, refugee influxes, and aging infrastructure, the project addresses a real crisis. Kabul today is overwhelmed. Its roads gridlocked, its housing stretched thin, and its public services chronically underbuilt. But the scale of the solution reveals another motive: legitimacy through modernity. In the absence of international recognition, the Taliban is attempting something else: reshaping perception through physical architecture. By late 2024, construction had restarted on multiple sectors. Parcel B aims to provide 6,600 units for 40,000 residents. Parcel 2.6, launched with a $700 million investment, will deliver 52,000 units. The Golden City district alone is designed to house 230,000 people with schools, clinics, markets, and parks. Behind the cement and scaffolding is a calculated message. This is not a transitional government. It's here to build. Still, Kabul New City is more than political theater. It's a test of capability, of whether large-scale urban development can function under sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and limited private capital. And so far, investors from Turkey, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates are watching closely. Building a trade spine. Afghanistan has long been a geographic keystone, wedged between Central Asia, South Asia, and the Middle East. But for decades, the region's fractured politics and rugged terrain made it a missing link rather than a trade bridge. That's now changing. In May 2025, China, Pakistan, and the Taliban signed a trilateral agreement to extend the $60 billion China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, into Afghanistan. With that one move, the country became more than a transit zone. It became a partner in one of Asia's most influential trade initiatives. But that's only part of the story. An even more transformative project is the Trans-Afghan Railway. Spanning 573 kilometers from Uzbekistan to Pakistan via northern Afghanistan, this $4.8 billion line will cut cargo transit times from 35 days to just 4. That kind of reduction isn't just a logistical upgrade, it's a redefinition of what's economically viable. If completed, Afghanistan becomes a core segment in a transcontinental trade arc connecting China, Central Asia, the Persian Gulf, and beyond. Building it, however, is no simple feat. The terrain demands over 300 bridges and 5 mountain tunnels. It's an engineering challenge of the highest order, threading infrastructure through a landscape scarred by decades of war. Alongside this, other corridors are quietly becoming operational. The Qosh to Herat railway linking Iran to western Afghanistan carried its first cargo in 2023. CASA 1000, an energy transmission line moving hydroelectric power from Kyrgyzstan to Pakistan via Afghanistan, resumed construction with World Bank support in 2024, despite the Taliban's lack of formal recognition. Bit by bit, the lines are connecting, not just tracks and wires, but regions and rival economies. The message is clear: Afghanistan is no longer just surrounded by trade, it's becoming the route itself. Beneath the ground. While rivers and railways shift Afghanistan's regional posture, the real engine of long-term influence may lie underground. Beneath the country's rugged surface are mineral reserves that global industries can't ignore. Estimates place the value of these untapped resources between $1 trillion and $3 trillion, an enormous figure made plausible by deposits of copper, iron, rare earths, and most crucially, lithium. The Ghazni and Nuristan regions are especially significant. A 2010 United States Department of Defense report referred to Afghanistan as potentially the Saudi Arabia of lithium. One deposit in Ghazni alone was estimated to rival Bolivia's Salar de Uyuni, one of the world's largest lithium sites. That makes Afghanistan a potential cornerstone in the global green energy transition, where electric vehicle batteries, solar panels, and smartphones all depend on lithium supply chains. For years, these resources remained untouched due to insecurity and instability. But now, the Taliban is offering a different kind of bargain: stability in exchange for investment. Chinese companies are already moving in. In July 2024, the long-dormant Mesainat copper mine finally began operations after nearly 15 years of delays. Taliban security guarantees, once unimaginable, are now part of the pitch. The strategy is self-reinforcing. Mineral wealth funds infrastructure. Infrastructure enables more mining. And with global demand rising, Afghanistan is no longer a bystander in resource geopolitics. It's a player, not by force, but by excavation. Legacy infrastructure and local impact. For all the ambition behind canals and corridors, it's often the most functional projects that reveal what kind of future a government is building. The Salong Tunnel, carved through the Hindu Kush in the 1960s, has long been Afghanistan's central artery, linking north to south across a mountain pass 11,000 feet high. But it was also a death trap. Poor ventilation, crumbling roads, and a history of fatal accidents made it one of the most dangerous routes in the world. That changed in December 2023. With $100 million from its own treasury, nearly a quarter of its annual tax revenue, the Taliban government completed a full reconstruction of the tunnel. They installed new ventilation systems, paved the interior road, added lighting, and reinforced safety measures. For the thousands who rely on the pass each day, it wasn't just symbolic, it was survival. Moves like this are quiet but consequential. They don't grab headlines, but they do build credibility. When a farmer can move goods across provinces without risking his life, where a child can travel through the mountains without suffocating in exhaust, it signals a shift, not in ideology, but in intent, to hold the country together with more than power. Fragile foundations. For all the visible progress, none of Afghanistan's mega projects are immune to fracture. The Qosh Tepa Canal could trigger regional water disputes with forceful responses. Kabul New City may stall if services can't meet rising demand, or if urban migration outpaces construction. The Trans-Afghan Railway, already facing steep engineering hurdles, could collapse under financial pressure or internal sabotage. And while mineral extraction promises long-term wealth, it also invites environmental strain, foreign overreach, and labor unrest. Afghanistan's transformation hinges not just on vision, but on execution under pressure and under sanctions. The Taliban may control the blueprints, but they do not control global markets, international banking, or regional stability. A single misstep in any sector, water, energy, trade, could ripple across all the rest. That makes this moment one of precarious balance, full of momentum, but shadowed by fragility. A nation long defined by what it lost is now building to be seen, not with speeches, but with concrete, steel, and water. Whether these foundations endure or collapse, they demand attention. If you found this story revealing, share it, and subscribe for more documentaries that uncover the forces quietly reshaping our world.